Fantastic talk. Thank you all for that. Just to add to the topics that Joe had mentioned, there's a bunch. I was shocked even cannabis was fit into that talk. Really, really cool stuff. Potato. I remembered, don't worry, I remembered. So up next, we have the art of community building in Web3. Community is obviously a huge aspect of Web3, so it is my pleasure coming all the way from Seoul. And also, fun fact, the next moderator has started a dance group. We have Erica Kang. Welcome to the stage, Erica.
Welcome. All right. Thank you for the generous intro. And thank you, panelists, for joining me. So thank you so much for everybody for coming to this panel. And as Otis mentioned, community building is the most important thing, I think, in Web3, and it's also very difficult to solve or just kind of target community building and just do a good job at it. And so I would like to kind of go around and do a general intro, but also kind of dive into some questions that we've been facing throughout our journey in crypto. So for me, I'm the moderator for this panel. My name is Erica Kang. I'm from KryptoSeoul, and I've been hosting Middle Asia Conference and Eat Seoul for 5 years now. So I'm really happy to be here. And let's do a quick intro to the panelists. So Pedro, do you want to begin and say hi?
Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here. My name is Pedro Filipe. I'm a co-founder of Thingle, who's a marketplace for second-hand goods. And I'm not really a Web3 guy, but we're going to talk about that in this panel.
All right.
Cool. Hey, everyone. I'm Malcolm Levy from RefractionDAO. Thanks so much for being here. Refraction has over 1,000 members, mostly artists, creators all around the world.
Amazing.
Hi, everyone. My name is Charles Wayn. I'm the co-founder of Galxe. Galxe is a platform for community building for brands to build their own loyalty program, Quest, to engage with their community members.
Awesome.
Hi, my name is Maria. Great job for the RefractionDAO and the community HQ. Drop by. They have really cool art installations. My name is Maria. I lead hackathons at DevHub. Last year, 8,000 people hacked with me on Near, so I think that's my main thing to brag about.
That's amazing. I think we all come from different backgrounds and different experiences. So I think the topic itself, the art of community building Web3, that can kind of encompass so many different experiences and lessons. So I know it's really hard to define community in general, and also let alone Web3 community. But why don't we just kind of go around and just share our definitions of Web3? What does it mean to you of Web3 community, and how is it compared to Web 2, for example, and what you've kind of experienced throughout the years, and just why don't we kind of go around? You don't need to answer questions, but I'll just kind of set a general question. If you're comfortable with it, please go around and answer. Do you want to
Okay,
start?
I may start. So for me, community is like a group of people with the same goal, with the same purpose, that gets together and do the best that they can in order to achieve that goal. It can be whatever goal it is. And that's why communities are so important in the Web3 community and in the Web 2. That's how I came here. It was a surprise for me, because last year I was invited to NearCon and I knew nothing about Web3. And I said that to the people that invited me. I know nothing about Web3. But I said, well, but we have this group that's called Blacks at Web3. And I know you're a local guy, you're an activist, and we can help us, because a lot of people from abroad want to come to Portugal, they want to talk to you, So I went there, I came to NearCon, I fell in love with it, I fell in love with the community, the Blacks at Web3, and so I became part of this community into an ecosystem that I did not belong. So a year passed, and I was more and more developing that, and we at Blacks at Web3, we help each other doing whatever we can, because there are so many projects, so many different goals, so many approaches, and I was just like the connecting guy between Portugal and the Web3 community and the Black Hat Web3. So this year, that's why I'm here. So somebody was in the organization and said, so you should Google talk about community because you really build us up and you really help the people out and you help people out going to the Web Summit and achieving their goals, because I have a marketing and communication agency, so I move along in the Portuguese scheme. And once again, I said, why am I doing that? I know nothing about Web3. The same way I said to you in the email, I cannot force this enough. but I know one thing or two about community and the power that it has. And it's mainly about purpose and how people try to do their best and achieve their best to main goals and to do whatever they can in order to achieve that goals. And that's, for me, is the main purpose of here.
That's great. I mean, for me, I'm in community building for 7 years now. I still don't know what it means. And so I cannot be an expert on it, I think, forever. So I think it's a precious moment that you experienced that over the span of a year. And you've been really bridging, those two communities. I think that's where the beauty really begins. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to share?
Yeah, I can probably share. So,
Yeah?
Yeah, my main thought throughout the last year was, okay, we are the part of the community, right? So we are just talking on behalf of the community about the community. So it's kind of meta, but I think I'll take it. So I think the main difference between Web3 and Web2 communities is that in Web2, people feel like clients needs to be served, right? And our community, people are stakeholders. They want to understand what's going on. They want to influence what's going on. So it's really hard when you don't have just one decision maker. You have like hundreds of thousands of them. And you have to listen. You have to attend all of those Twitter spaces. It's been so exhausting for the last year. I kind of like it, but I feel weird talking to my phone like that. But and I'm really grateful for this opportunity to see our community in person at NearCon, because when I see you in person, I realize, okay, this is not trolls, this is like real people. So we have the opportunity to connect to them, especially here at Hacker HQ. We have a lot of amazing builders at the hackathon. So I'm getting like the first line response, what people are actually building, what are they dreaming about, what their vision of the future of Web3 is, and it's really inspiring. So I would say if I need to drive this home somehow, community in Web3 is so much easier and so much more joyful to connect with. So yeah, that's my point.
Thank you for sharing. Amazing. Do you
Yeah, I mean, for me, curating the first digital art festival for the Olympics, doing underground music events, different spaces around the world, it was always like very interesting and kind of global, but always like set in different places. And then like with Web3 and building out Refraction, it's so interesting because you actually have kind of like these nodes around the world where everyone is like contributing what comes from their space, their city, their culture into like the larger discourse. And I think that's the thing that's so special about building community in Web3, is that you can really do it on a global level, and that community, is one that all has input. And in a perfect world around it, that input really can come from all different places around the world.
I mean, just to kind of add on to that, like I'm the SheFi Soul chapter lead, for example, and SheFi communities everywhere. It's like empowering women, founders in this space. And I think it's a really cool initiative, but you can't really conquer every single region, right? So I think having those nodes for every city is really cool, and it gives you ownership as well. I think it's really a cool structure to have.
Totally.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, from our perspective in Galaxy, we help brands, we help Web3 businesses, DAOs, to connect with their audience. So from our perspective, we also have a token. Galaxy has its token, GAL token. So we kind of like differentiate it into two different perspectives. One is the product, the users of the product. The other one is the users, maybe the token holders. And we actually spend more efforts on, to be honest, on the product level. Because we want to establish, the community itself for us is you have established a group of core users who can really support you on the new features, when there is a problem, when there is issues, and understanding the process, working with our team. on improving the product overall and improving the experience and co-build the product with us. Right? So for us, we have established, for example, a Telegram group dedicated for Web3 marketers who are marketers or community managers from all of these 3,900 companies using Galxe. They have a dedicated group. They share tips. They create some business opportunities. And then on the other hand, we have a Discord which has 600,000 members. They're mainly users from different all over the world. Constantly giving us a good feedback on what to do on the product, and also what are the strategies to play, what are the good campaigns to participate on Galxe. It becomes an interest group, but also helping us co-build the product. I think that's very important.
I think you touched upon a very important aspect is where you have various channels that you have to communicate with your community with.
Right, yes.
And also some communities have a token. So it's really, you have to maintain that as well. So I think you have to basically target so many groups of people and regions. And so I think Web3 community is very diverse in that sense. And it's also complicated and hard to maintain. So coming back to the question where, we say community is very important. It's always the key. And we hear that all the time. But it's really hard to, I hear so many obstacles in joining a Web3 community, and we're very binding. I think we're very strong in our own philosophy and beliefs, but I think when you're entering, there's an entry barrier for sure. And can you kind of, maybe from your own experience of joining a Web3 community or maybe founding one, can you kind of maybe pinpoint some of the challenges that you kind of saw or obstacles that you see when you're kind of joining, for example, involving tokens or wallets and all those things, but yeah?
So as I told you, I was brought to this community, and my main difficulty was to understand what was Web3 and what was all the environment, because in Portugal it's still new. It's recent in the world, but in Portugal it's still new. So I'm trying to absorb all these new words that are coming to me now, the crypto, the fintech, what is this? I don't want to look a fool, and maybe that's some work that needs to be done. But everybody in the community that I found that I belong to was so approachable and so helpful in order to make me feel like I belong there. Like it's okay if you don't know, you're going to learn it through the way. So in my personal experience, it was pretty easy. But I want to comment on something that Maria said. I found very interesting, the difference between Web 2 and Web 3, the clientele that Web 2 feels that they are. I truly believe I can sign with this. I think these are like the main differences I find between the two communities, because I mainly work with people that work in Web 2, and my platform only runs there. And I don't feel the sense of belonging, the sense of this is bigger than us and we really want to thrive. Maybe it's because it's a new community, it's a new state. But I really felt that different. I really think it makes me feel more acceptable and more welcoming.
Yeah, I think the sense of belonging is definitely there, and the welcoming attitude and entering. But at the same time, the terminology is just really burdensome. It just really, people find it hard to learn and just have that basic entry, right? So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, for us, one of the big limitations, I think, outside of just getting a wallet has, at least in the early stages, been getting admitted to a specific DAO or having enough ETH or any other coin in general to join a DAO, right? So what we did when we opened up Refraction is we had the token, but we made it free based on merit. So if you're an artist, creator, musician, etc., we would give you the tokens to join. Also, partnerships is so important. So, we partner with tons of different folks around the ecosystem. The group that helped build the space here for GarageM, for instance, it's very much a community effort. All of those members receive tokens in Refraction. They all become part of the DAO. But we do this in a way where we control our supply, in a sense, but also in that way, have the community able to join. And the biggest thing we found is there's always a lot of explaining along the way and a lot of trust, right? A musician, a DJ playing around the world, all of a sudden they join Refraction. It's the first thing they've ever done in Web3. It almost becomes a responsibility. How do you actually make sure that these folks coming in are then going to come to something like NearCon or come to different events around the world and take that in and learn more and get more involved, right? Like it becomes, it's almost like diplomacy in a way around like what is actually happening on the blockchain. What is it really compared to what maybe the media might be saying, et cetera.
The diplomacy, that really kind of catches us. It's a key word, I think. We're all diplomats in that sense.
Totally.
Bridging across different cultures. And I think also persuading artists to join and make sure that's a safe space to kind of like jump on and kind of create their own art in our own space in Web3. I think that's also a persuasion and also a lot of talking, interpretation as well. And I think, you're doing a really important part. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I think in terms of the challenges or the obstacles, there is a trend. I think if we go back to 2 years ago, I think the biggest challenge for all the Web3 products are go-to-market. Everybody is trying to find the best product market fit for their own product. Either you're DeFi or DAO, and sometimes you don't have a live product. How do you really build your initial community? That was the challenge, the biggest challenge I would say for the past 2 years ago. But now we see a trend of shifting from that because now there's so many good toolings or platforms to help you go to market better, right? Like Galxe or other questing platforms or their product hunt. There are a lot of great venues for you to get your first 100 champion users easily. So go-to-market is getting easier. And then now the major problem, I think, is the retention of, how do you keep your user continue to engaged? We still see a short lifespan of all the Web3 products in general, right? Every product, you see them have a good hype, maybe since the day when they released their fundraise announcement. But quickly, within a year or even less than a year, you see you don't hear from them anymore. Right? So the retention, I think it's the biggest challenge right now because now there are so many good products, so many innovations, and the competition get really serious right now. So how can you really build a Web3 product that's not only to Web3 degens but also to all the audience? That's very important, and keep them engaged. Right, that's the idea.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's my next question, but we'll move on after.
Sorry, I will take a couple of minutes to talk about that before your next question. No problem. So I primarily work with developers, so for me retention is that's what I'm thinking when I wake up. That was what I'm thinking when I'm going to bed. But in my opinion, with the community of developers in particular, it's very important to empower them to do things as opposed to just, consume things that we are doing for them. So, for example, at Near DevHub, we shipped a product called Hackbox. We productized everything that we know about hackathons. So it's kind of a plug-and-play out-of-the-box solution for the community to host their own hackathons. We're doing the micro grants, 10K to 15K, in the communities throughout the world. So if you know how to build on Near, if you want to host your own hackathon, this is what you do. You take the boss and you just open it and it's plug and play. So we empower people to do things, and that way we not only improve retention, we just kind of tell them, not directly, because directly is tacky, but indirectly we say them, your opinion and your vision and your approach and your expertise, it matters so much for us. And the community is actually built by people, not by a mastermind, a community manager or something who sits in the office somewhere in Lisbon. Not talking about me. Sorry. So yeah, let the community do the thing, and I think they will stick around.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And providing all these tools and resources, it's wonderful. But at the same time, the retention, how to keep your community strong and keep it going, sustainable, and attractive, basically, and it makes you want to kind of stay there. I think it's also always a challenge. And for me, I think consistent is key. But I've been doing this like 7 years. It's a long run investment. And so I would like to know if there's any magic potion that you try? You know, just what's your go-to strategy, like everyday things? And Maria said you wake up every morning thinking about, you know, and same for me, every time, like 24/7, right? But just maybe some of the key elements that you kind of try to kind of pull into your community and just try like regularly. Can you share some of the little strategies that you try that, you know, makes it
For us,
sustainable?
it's events.
Events.
So we do, you know, different events or community building around the world. And when we're doing our events, you know, people come out. And we find that the people who come that have never been, it's their first time, maybe even their first time to crypto, you know, and really getting involved in like on-chain culture and Web3, it's, you know, this time of like sharing, but also realizing, oh, like this is like a new way, but also it has all these things from the past, et cetera. And it gives a chance for the community to hang out together, you know, to talk, to meet IRL, to create work, to, you know, make music, to do all these things that like is very, you know, unique. And so for us, like we find the events and then pushing those events further, as well as what we call like creative programs. So for instance, like working on the project here, you know, our main exhibition designer, Craig Barrow, came in from Berlin. Kaylin Davies, who lives in Lisbon, helped to produce, as well as like a team of folks like on the ground in Lisbon. And it's like super interesting learning from that and like building community around that, because it's almost like you're building a village in real time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The integration between IRL and online communities and the engagement there is really important, I think. I mean, I've been hosting like 60, 50, like over 70 events like throughout the span of like several years, and it's been really rewarding. And yeah, so thank you for sharing that. And who wants to go next?
I think, just finish up my previous topic. I think fundamentally it's important to really find really build a useful product that, you know, can satisfy your customers' needs, not only emotionally, right, but also practically. Is it a tool or is there a platform they are supposed to come here every day or every week, or is it more like if you don't have a live product, it is in general fundamentally hard to keep them engaged, right? I think that's one idea. And secondly, a lot of new protocols they're trying is to start to create their own loyalty program, which we found out it's actually quite helpful. You know, especially when you in the DeFi space, there's so many competitions. Swap, DEX, you see similar protocols. And at this stage, everybody is sharing the same liquidity, everybody is sharing the same, slippage rate, the experiences are the same. How do you make your product stand out? One thing is the UI, the user experience. The second thing is, maybe a unique loyalty program. You can keep your community engaged. Right, that's our 2 cents.
Amazing. Yeah.
I can probably pick that up by saying there is no magic potion. I'm sorry to disappoint you. It's just like like human relationship. You are not a dollar for be liked by everyone, right? So some people will definitely dislike you, but that's okay. With developers, I primarily again work with developers. It's important to keep them challenged. So launch a new challenge every month, so they could feel that they are progressing, they are learning, they are building new thing. And I would say also DevRel, developer relations, is really important. So we were trying to find the perfect DevRel person, right? And we found out that however good of an engineer it is, I see some smiles in the audience, the person needs to be likable in the first place. They need to show up. They have to have this enormous charisma, so people could just follow them. You see, it's an impersonation of New York ecosystem. You see the person, you like the person. Okay, I want to be like that. I want to be with those people, as opposed to some snobby and unpleasant people in ecosystem. Yeah, so this is what we're building. We're trying to decentralize DevRel. We're trying to, again, productize the knowledge of being a DevRel, of developer marketing, and going to hackathons, talking to people. But it all comes down to human-to-human interaction, I think.
Yes.
I would resume it all like listen and learn, because when you're developing some problem, some strategy, whatever you're trying to develop, and you have this kind of community support anyway, giving inception of what they think, they are contributing, so they are engaged to your brand, they are engaged to whatever it is that you're doing. And that will always help with it. And when the product is out, it can never stop. You have to do events, like you said, you have to do hackathons, you have to keep on listening, keep on making people being linked to whatever it is that you're building, and that is the better way to finalize something.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. This is amazing. I mean, the topic itself is the art of community building, and I think it's an art. I think it's definitely a holistic art where you build your own community. It's a work of art. And so, final words, I mean, we have 1 minute, but can we just like blast out our key takeaways from this panel? If you want to build your own community, what would you like advise them to do? Maybe just like a few pointers. Just gonna go around, just like shoot out.
I would say start small and start with what you know.
Oh, that's great. I love that. Start small. Yes.
I can agree to that because your community also probably started with 15 people who were really, really bullish about the technology. And actually, you started as an AI startup. So
it did.
At some point, it shifted to blockchain. The community is still here, so Near is pretty likable. And start small, work with what you have, and at some point, 10,000 people will attend your Twitter space, I promise.
It's amazing.
Well, I think everybody understand that the space is growing, the community projects are also building. So try to capture all the new audience to the space, to your product, to your community as much as possible, and then after that, make sure you have a good program to keep them engage with your product or with your team.
Amazing.
I would say focus on the people. Because sometimes for developers mainly, we focus on product. I think a product is always for somebody. Focus on the people, focus on what do the people want, what can help, listen to them. It's all again, listen, learn. Focus on the people, it will be all right.
I think one-on-one interactions really do scale up in a way. I think eventually it'll scale up. So I think I really agree with the IRL connections there. But yeah, I think we're done here. But thank you so much for your insightful, discussions. But let's give a round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thank you so much for that talk, y'all. Just a nice analogy I like to use. I think of communities in the current internet are like New York City, where you live 5 feet from someone, but you see them as a stranger. Whereas communities in Web3 are almost like a rural town where you live so much more spread out. In Web3, it's global, but you feel so much more connected. So that's the analogy I use. Take it for what you will. But we actually right now will have a quick break. We actually will have food downstairs on the first floor at 12:30, but please come back for 1 p.m. here where we resume the talks. Thank you, everyone.